Did you know that EPA recently proposed new standards to reduce emissions of mercury and other air pollutants from power plants? Hi, I'm Paul Greywall, a director with Trinity Consultants. On March 16, 2011, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency proposed national emission standards for hazardous air pollutants, or NESHAPs, and new source performance standards, or NSPS, for new and existing coal and oil-fired power plants. NESHAP standards are primarily focused on the reduction of hazardous air pollutants, or HAPs, from stationary sources. As required under the Clean Air Act, the NESHAPs require the application of Maximum Achievable Control Technology, or MACT standards, for existing sources based on the top performing 12% of similar sources. MACT standards for new sources must be as stringent as the top performing similar source. Under the proposed utility MACT, coal-fired power plants will be subject to emission limits for mercury, acid gas, particulate matter, hydrogen chloride, and sulfur dioxide, while oil-fired power plants will be subject to emission limits for total metals, mercury, hydrogen chloride, and hydrogen fluoride. These specific limits are based on the fuel types utilized in the boilers. Work practice standards are also proposed to reduce emissions of dioxins and furans. EPA elected to exclude health-based emission limits due to a lack of data needed to implement that approach. EPA estimates that nearly 2,000 power plants will be affected by the proposed rules. Affected sources will be required to install costly pollution control equipment such as activated carbon injection, electrostatic precipitators, fabric filters, and flue gas desulfurization scrubbers. Selection of the appropriate control equipment will depend upon a facility's specific emissions profiles. For numerous smaller and older plants, the required changes will likely be cost prohibitive, causing them to cease operations. EPA projects that 2% decrease in coal-fired electrical generation as a result of associated shutdowns on an annual generation basis. Industry groups believe EPA's cost estimates of $10 billion per year for implementing controls may be as much as an order of magnitude too low, especially as compliance dates for other new rules affecting power plants will be coming online simultaneously. If the utility MACT is finalized by the November 2011 court order deadline, the compliance timeframe will be early 2015 with the potential for a one-year extension. Meanwhile, there are additional current and future rulemaking initiatives affecting the utility sector with significant cost implications as well. For example, the proposed Clean Air Transport Rule, which will replace the vacated Clean Air Interstate Rule, is tied to the National Ambient Air Quality Standards referred to as NAAQS. Emissions reductions of pollutants that form ozone and fine particulate matter from power plants located across the eastern U.S. are required to help bring existing non-attainment areas into attainment. Any tightening of the existing NAAQS will trigger additional emission reduction requirements under the transport rule. EPA is also pursuing the regulation of coal combustion residuals, namely ash, as potential hazardous waste, despite opposition by the Bipartisan Environmental Council of States. Finally, future changes to the Clean Water Act include a potential determination that cooling towers represent the best technology available, a finding that would result in high-cost retrofits or retirement decisions for many existing facilities. If you need to know more about the utility MACT or other regulations facing electrical generating facilities, visit trinityconsultants.com or contact your local Trinity office at 800-229-6655.